My friends, how are you? So, I wanted to talk today about learning. I wanted to talk about learning about you learning about you, me learning about me, and really kind of getting really granular on the lessons that we should be learning right now. The reason I bring this up, and I do bring this up from time to time, because I think that we get so busy in our day-to-day activities of either what I call whacking a mole or handling the most recent crisis, is that when the day gets done, we go back and we look at our list for the day and we're like, I didn't do that, I didn't do that, I didn't do that, I didn't do that, right? But yet you were busy all day. And what happens is, then you say, well, I had to do those things. It was, it was important. This thing came up in my transaction. I had to take care of it. And so I'm not saying that it's not appropriate to handle those things. What I am saying is that we get caught in the minutia and we really don't take a look at how we're doing on our learning and how we're doing on pushing our peanut to where we want to go. So I thought I would bring on a tool that I have found helpful. But before I do that, the reason that you want to do this is because when you are in that like solving, reacting, being behind, like being behind, chasing your tail kind of thing, is that you're not advancing, generally speaking, you're not advancing your profession or your life plan or your health span, like we talked about the other day. Like you are really, truly just in the moment, handling, putting out fires. And what happens is that is a time that, like, if we look at like what's happening inside of us, we're in stress, we're in adrenaline, we're in cortisol, um, we're in dopamine, like we're all stressed out. And sometimes it feels like, yeah, I got this. I'm slaying the dragons. However, what normally happens is we're exhausted at the end of the day. And we may have a stomach ache or a headache, or we've been gritting our teeth and our jaw hurts, or our shoulders hurt. It's so funny. I just learned like this chair has handles on the back, like to stretch out, and it's a like a ergonomic chair that I got during the pandemic. And I laughed. I'm like, I never realized like for me the message is open up those shoulders and stretch out. Anyway, sidebar. So, how do we become students of ourselves and how do we learn what it is that we are doing with our days if we are focusing only on like the fires? And how are we, like, it's so funny. I was reading, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you. So I was reading some of my old things that I had saved, right? Because I save a lot. When I see something I like, I save it. And what they talked about was like, like getting to progress on where you want to go takes time. But it's like whether or not you're working on it, that time's still going by. So this is part of the Rise Planner. And by the way, you have all inspired me to update this in a way that I can't wait to see if I can make it work. I think I can. And it kind of pulls it all together. And I thank you for challenging me on this. I had someone who saw one of these calls and reached out to me and really made me say, like, yeah, like there's a couple inefficiencies here. And anyway, so this is like your day and date, right? So this is a piece of this. And what it is what's my action? So what are you actually doing? Now, we know that we have our day plan. Sometimes it's on our phone. We look it up and we say, like, all right, what do I got? When do I have it? Like, this is my day, right? Or sometimes it's in your journal or your planner or whatever you're using. You're scheduling your day, maybe your week, you're looking forward and you're seeing what's going on, right? So in a perfect world, you are getting everything done that you want to get done and you are advancing your profession the way you want to go. However, what actually happens in your day? So this right here is your actions are, and this is day one. I mean, the first half of the day, and then the second half of the day is slide two, right? So the idea being, what is your action? What are you actually doing? And jotting it down. Now, this right here is a hot slide. So this is something that you can edit right on it. And I think like sometimes I show you guys, I don't know if I can do it on this. I don't think I can because this is just thrown in here, is like if you're color coding, I can go and if I at 12:45 had a CMA, I can color code that for my real estate, right? I can color code the box. So I can, after the day is over, if I spend a little bit of time as the day's going on to master this, then I can start doing evaluation on myself. Okay. So this is your actions. What are you actually doing? Then your food and drink. So Yesterday morning, I ended up getting up like an hour earlier than I normally do. And I've been drinking decaf coffee. And I was like, oh, like I'm up an extra hour early. I need real coffee. Right. And so I drank the real coffee and I had some really strong reactions to it. And I wanted to make sure that I tracked that down because I needed to learn that lesson and I want to remember it. Right. So that would be one example of that. Are you mindlessly grabbing snacks or to get through, or every time you get in the car, are you grabbing something to eat or drink? And what is it? So this way you can start analyzing. One of the things that I think I talked about this week was that book Outlive, and it's by Peter Attia. It's coming out next week. And in that book, they talk about, again, food is medicine. So at the end of the day, am I getting those nutrients that I need for what particularly is my condition, right? So seeing what exactly you're doing. And I went through this, and last week I did this and I broke it down instead of the actual food as what I tracked on this, although I did put it in the description. I put protein, carb, complex carb, simple carb, fat, sugar, and what else was that? So as the week went on, I kept on editing a little bit, right? And so when I looked at it, I could count how many proteins I had that day, how many carbs I had. Were they complex or were they simple, right? Which is actually sugar. But and then it was also the vegetables I had and the fruits. And so, in the liquid, right? So I could see it just as an image. And again, if I get a little fancy, I could go and color code. I could go right inside my food. And at 12:45, when I had an apple, I could put down fruit. I could put in my description apple. Again, the description, I actually did it on my phone. So in that particular case, I can transcribe it later and drop it over. But I could also color code those and see what I'm doing. And then movement. What am I doing for movement? Some of the things that Peter Attia talked about in his book was, he was there's 4 different activities that we need in our movement. And I don't know them exactly. I mean, again, I only read like the preview type parts of the book. But one of them is let's call it a slow burn aerobic thing and what that does for you. And the other is like high intensity maxing out for a certain period of time and what that does for you, what strength training does, and also what cognitive development does and how to like work your brain. So there were different parts about that would kind of go into the movement part. And then money. What am I spending money on? What am I investing in? What am I earning? And where is it going? So when that day comes, I will say and again, maybe even on that, you could highlight it and attach the receipt, right? So I could just highlight this, click on it, make it like the link, and I could just attach it right to that. So that I would have all of the study, the learning of me all in this place. The one thing that this does not do for us is this does not, see if I can get us off this for a sec. This does not tell us how we're feeling, right? So in this particular case, this particular mechanism does not talk about energy level. Is this bringing me energy? Am I drained? Am I frustrated? Do I have like these trigger warnings going on every time I talk to this person? Am I looking? Does everybody have the same thing wrong with them? Right? Then that generally means that there's something going on in my brain. So as we learn this, the benefit of doing this is that as we're going through this transitionary time, and let's face it, in the real estate world, we've had a lot of transitionary type things. And the newest one that I've been listening about is, the bank situations that have happened in the last couple weeks. And what does that mean for realtors, right? The short analysis I can tell you is they think that it's going to bring more buyers into our market because people want to invest in something. They want their money to be out of the banks and into something that is real and tangible. And for a lot of people, that will be real estate. So it looks like we're going to continue on a pretty strong trajectory this year. So when I say that, tell me, did you feel an increase in energy or a decrease in energy? Did you go like, oh my God, we're going back to that craziness? Or were you like, yes, I can put food on my table, right? So as we're saying that, but here's the thing is that you have a moment here to transition your energy and your like pre-planning to create what you want for a picture this year. We're not in that situation where we were in the pandemic, where we were truly afraid that we didn't know what was going to happen, right? We have an idea what's going to happen. So how you respond and plan for that is up to you. So that's why I want you to take some time to learn about you. And this is why, like when I talked last week about going away for the weekend, this is what goes through my brain is all of the things I'm talking to you about, because I can unpack the moments that I like that my thoughts, right? What were my thoughts and what was I doing with those thoughts? And I can say, all right, this is you being tired, this is you being frustrated, this is you being in fear, this is you not resting enough. Like so, like whatever it is, I can go back and I can say, all right, so how do I change? How do I nudge? How do I do that trim tab where just a little scooch of a change might make big changes to what I'm doing? Because ultimately, I want satisfaction in my profession and I want to enjoy the hell out of it. And we have that opportunity. But I really, really can't stress enough. I think for you all and for me, it starts by knowing exactly what we're doing. And there's only one way to do that, and that is to track it. So whether it's a manual thing like this, where you are able to go and jot it down again, make everything like click on it and have it as that, or you are putting it in your phone, but you are going back and downloading it somewhere. I have this new app that I'm working with, which takes your phone stuff and puts it into a Google Sheet, right? So that would mean that I can take my calendar and just export it into my sheet. I can then go to my sheet, which looks something like this, looks exactly like this in some places, right? And I can take it and I can analyze it and I can break it down and I can change over the data so that I can learn more. And then when I learn more, I can help you learn more too. So thank you so much. I hope that this was helpful. Make it an amazing day, and I will see you all soon. I hope. I've been seeing a few more people